Hello. Over the next few days, I'm going to be reading some of my books. I'm starting today with this one, which is Bat Loves the Night. But if there's a wobble in the camera, please don't worry, I apologise. I'm so technically hopeless that I have already this morning managed to break my tripod. So now my phone is balanced on two books held with a bulldog clip. So, you know, it could all go horribly wrong. I wrote this book because I used to study bats. I studied a species called greater horseshoe bats. Google them, they're absolutely amazing, as are all species of bats. Over 1,000 different species all around the world, doing all sorts of useful jobs like pollinating things and eating up insects that might bite us. Plus just being gorgeously themselves, of course. So, Bat Loves the Night. Oh, the illustrations here are done by a wonderful illustrator called Sarah Fox Davies, and people always ask me if we're related. I really wish we were, but Davies is a very common surname in Wales. So, Bat loves the night. Bat is waking, upside down as usual, hanging by her toenails. Her beady eyes open, her pixie ears twitch. She shakes her thistledown fur. She unfurls her wings, made of skin so fine the finger bones inside show through. Now she unhooks her toes and drops into black space. With a sound like a tiny umbrella opening, she flaps her wings. Bat is flying. There she is, flying inside the roof space in the top of a house where she spent her day. She's flying out, out under the broken tile and into the nighttime garden. Now, if you look really carefully at that picture, you can see her flying in the sky, this little tiny black shape that's often all we see of bats. Over bushes, under trees, between fence posts, through the tangled hedge, she swoops untouched. Bat is at home in the darkness, as a fish is in the water. She doesn't need to see, she can hear where she's going. And there she is, swooping in between the branches. Bat shouts as she flies, louder than a hammer blow, higher than a squeak. She beams her voice around her like a torch, and the echoes come singing back. They carry a sound picture of all her voice has touched. Listening hard, Bat can hear every detail, the smallest twigs, the shape of leaves. Gliding and fluttering back and forth, she shouts her torch of sound among the trees, listening for her supper. All is still. Then a fat moth takes flight below her. Bat plunges fast as blinking and grabs it in her open mouth, but the moth's pearly scales are moon dust slippery. It slithers from between her teeth. Bat dives, nets it with a wingtip, and scoops it into her mouth. And there she is, with the moth in her mouth. This time she bites hard. Its wings fall away like the wrapper from a toffee. In a moment the moth is eaten. Bat sneezes. The dusty scales got up her nose. And I've actually heard bats doing that, flying at night when they're catching moths, and you hear this little tiny as they get the moth scales out of their little noses. Hunting time has run out. The dark will soon be gone. In the east, the sky is getting light. It's past Bat's bedtime. She flies to the roof in the last shadows and swoops in under the broken tile. Inside there are squeakings. 50 hungry batlings hung in a huddle, hooked to a rafter by their outsized feet. Bat lands and pushes in amongst them, toes first, upside down again. And there she is with other mummy bats flying into their little batlings. If you look online, you can find film of bats flying in slow motion, and they do this amazing thing. So they fly in and then they flip, rather like a swimmer doing a tumble turn at the end of a length. They flip so that their toes are the first thing to catch, and they really have got toes like coat hangers. Amazing. Bat knows her baby's voice and calls to it. The velvet scrap batling climbs aboard and clings to her fur by its coat hanger feet. Wrapped in her leather wings, it suckles Bat's milk. And there's a little baby bat cuddling up to its mum, having a little feed of milk. And they really are like little scraps of stretchy black velvet when they're first born. Well, when they're first born, they're pink because they haven't really got any fur. And then after a couple of days, they get this fantastic little dense coat of very dark, smooth, silky fur. Outside, the birds are singing. The flowers turn their faces to the sun. But inside the roof hole, the darkness stays. Bat dozes with her batling, waiting. So inside that roof, although you couldn't see it from the outside, there's a colony of bats sleeping away the day. When the tide of night rises again, Bat will wake and plunge into the blackness, shouting. Bat loves the night. And round here in Wales, in the hills of the Brecon Beacons, the bats have been in hibernation all winter, and they'll be waking up soon. And there's a church in the churchyard just down the road from where I live, a big old yew tree, perhaps 1,000 or even 2,000 years old. And inside that tree, in the space between the low branches and the trunk of the tree, you can sometimes stand and bats will be flying round and round and round. I'm going to check to see if they're doing it tonight, and if the camera on my phone is up to it, I'll try and take a film, if I can find them, of them zooming round and round. It's an absolutely wonderful thing to see. So keep your eyes peeled, because sometimes you can see bats even in cities. Have a lovely day. Take care.